All right, so here is the second video for 6.1. In this video, we're going to be looking a lot at, or referring a lot to, this formula sheet, okay? So make sure you have that handy, or at least somewhere where you can click and look at it, or whether it's on your phone or whatever, but make sure you know where it is, okay? So basically this whole video is going to be about simplifying. So I touched on simplifying kind of the last thing that I did in the last video, okay? Which was when I simplified that expression right there. Now, the hint that I gave you in the last video was that you should always write in terms of, do you guys remember? Always write as sine or cos, okay? And then once you get there, when you write in terms of cos and sine, it's a lot easier to simplify, okay? So the questions here say, simplify the following expressions to one of the three primary trig ratios. So the three primary trig ratios being sine, cos, or tan. So we're going to try and simplify these and then get equals one of those things. So first one here says cotangent times sine theta. Now cotangent is not in terms of cos and sine, so we need to write it in terms of cos and sine. Cotangent is cos over sine. See that? So we're going to write that. So we're going to go cos x over sine x times sine x. Okay? Sine x is fine. We don't need to change anything. Okay? Now, we're literally multiplying fractions. So if I have the same thing in the numerator and denominator, you're able to cancel them out. So then what are you left with? Cos x. Okay, and this is why I love this stuff, because it starts really gross, right? And then you end up with something just so simple and nice. And it's always like, how did that happen? So yeah, I think that's why I like it so much. But it does take a little bit of getting used to, I guess. Okay. So there is one question done. Next one. So this one has no cosine sine. So cotangent times tangent divided by cosecant x. So let's go cotangent times tan, but write in terms of cosine sine. We know that cotangent is cos x over sine x, so let's write that. Cos x over sine x times tan x. Now back here, tan is sine over cos. Anybody keying into anything here? Oops. Sine over cos. Okay, and then that's all over cosecant x. Now cosecant x is 1 over sine. Okay, it's the reciprocal of sine. So in my numerator, I have that can cancel, and that can cancel. So I actually just have 1. Okay, so 1 divided by 1 over sine x, which is the same thing as saying 1 times, now flip, so sine x over 1, which is sine x. Woohoo! Okay, hopefully you can see how I canceled those things out. I wrote it like this just because sometimes it's easier to see that when you're dividing, you flip and multiply. So yeah, that's why I did that. All right, now we got this next question, which says secant squared x times cos x divided by 1 over, or divided by cosecant x. Okay, don't let that little squared scare you. It just means there's 2 of them. It literally means this: secant x times secant x. Okay, that's what that little squared means. Okay, so it just means there's 2 of them. So that is literally 1 over cos times 1 over cos, right? Because secant is the reciprocal of cos. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I were to rewrite that, which I'm going to, I'm just going to write exactly what I just did on the side. 1 over cos times 1 over cos times cos. Right? Because I still have that cos right there. So I need to leave that. And that's all over cosecant. Okay, cosecant is 1 over what? Sine. Good. So looking at this right now, I have a cos x in my numerator and a cos x in my denominator. Okay, I can't cancel this cos x over here because I don't have 2 in my numerator. I just had 1. Okay, so what am I left with in my numerator? I'm left with 1 over cos x. Right? Because this went away and this went away. So I just have 1 over cos x. Now 1 over cos x, and then it's divided by 1 over sine x. Right? Dividing is the same thing as what? Multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to just change this to not say division, but I'm going to multiply. Where'd that go? Uh-oh. Miss Burchard shouldn't have hit that X. Okay, that's okay. I'll use this. It's just not. Uh-oh. Where do you guys think it went? Come back. Oh boy. Help me. You guys laughing at me? I'm laughing at myself. Okay, I'm going to pause this